Good afternoon, teacher and classmate. Below, I will present two new concepts which are being heard around the world. I talk about Afroptimism and Afrorrealism. In the next presentation, you will be greatly surprised with the progress and the new emerge that the African continent has had. I am going to share with you the new ideals and problems faced by young Africans. Also, I review how the future African continent is planned to be built up. Let's go first with Afro-optimism. What is it? What is it based on? Afro-optimism is the new concept in which you tend to see and judge things in their most positive aspect or agree favorable lies mainly in the economy and social development of the African continent. Now, I will share with you some surprising data from a survey carried out by an international foundation in 2020. This survey covered 14 countries and included 4,200 young people between the age of 18 and 24. According to the data from this survey, young people face negative stereotypes in a good way and project that the continent is heading towards a new era of success and prosperity, driven mainly by technology. Although the vast majority of those interviewed were not satisfied with the state of their own country, almost half believed that the continent as a whole was in a healthier state than years ago, and two-thirds of those interviewed that they were living a century African transform. The survey also showed that 81% of those interviewed firmly believed that the technology and business could unlock the continent. A similar percent also believed that the access to Wi-Fi should be a fundamental human right. Majority of those interviewed already think that the starting up and forming their own business is essential for them, as long as there is financing. The president of the foundation in charge of carrying out this survey emphasized that the young people do not want to escape and rather want to transform their continent and even make a professional difference. It is great for me to communicate the data that this survey produced. They are really surprising. But what is the really surprising is the data I will give you below. The main concern of the continent are corruption, new jobs for young people, peace, and citizen security. As I mentioned before, Africa is seen as the growing continent, enemy of the technology, and highly underdeveloped. This is why I want to show you the opposite. Africa is said to be a very corruption continent, but its level of corruption have gradually decreased, and today they can be compared with those of Spain. It is said that it is a sexist continent, but in most of its countries, greater female participation in politics, in parliament, among other Africans are said to be in Latin Europe, but according to UN, 1 out of every 100 immigrants goes to Europe. The vast majority immigrate to the USA. It is also said that it is a poor continent, but according to a report by IMF, between 2000 and 2010, the economy growth of Africa surpassed that of Europe and Latin America. Surprise, no? I think it is time that we stop looking at Africa as the worst continent. And for that, I will give you the latest report of economy data that the IMF delivered. An aggressive investment has been observed from China to Africa, mainly in urban planning, route, and commercial exchange. In the last decade, the investment and commercial exchange has included from $11 billion to $166 billion. All this is helping the new rise of Africa. Other significant exchange has been with the European Union and USA, which in the last decade has increased from $246 billion to $673 billion. This is something amazing. Africa has mainly emphasized the export of natural resources and receipt of foreign capital investment, which allow the increase of job and continental development on a large scale. It's surprising to see how this continent has grown. Now I will comment on Afrorrealism, which is based on a method to acquire a new vision of problems and how to face them. It's essential for the continent to leave behind the problem of colonization and more forward removing the negativity with which the continent is seen. It's also essential to combat to the solve problem based on African reality. It's very important to get out of poverty through local solutions and not wait for help from abroad. With the information provided about, we can realize that the currently Africa has the support of young professionals, also has the support of foreign investment. We can see that the commercial exchange traction, and we can also observe that sexism and corruption have decreased. However, there is much to work on, above all in citizen security and poverty. According to UN figures, currently 34 of 48 poorest countries in the world are in Africa. I hope that with the support of young professionals plus foreign investment, this situation will be reversed. I think we all deserve a change, and right now is the African turn. I hope this talk has somewhat changed your vision of this great continent. Good evening. Greet your longtime friend Francisco Muñoz. Don't forget to like the video, and I wait for you a next opportunity.